We are going to be looking at a number of themes in Of Mice and Men, major messages that the story seems to be telling us about life in general. There's four themes in particular that we're going to be looking at, and eventually, when we get to the summative in January, you'll be narrowing in on one of these themes to pick a particular line of inquiry that you're interested in learning more about. So today, we're going to go over our four themes. The first one is the nature of dreams. This came up a lot in Units 0 and 1 with Amanda Gorman and with A Raisin in the Sun, and it's still a big issue here. As it says on the slide, in essence, Of Mice and Men is as much a story about the nature of human dreams and aspirations and the forces that work against them as it is the story of two men. Humans give meaning to their lives and to their futures by creating dreams. Without dreams or goals, life is an endless stream of days that have little connection or meaning. In Of Mice and Men, George and Lenny's dream, to own a little farm of their own with rabbits, is so central to the book that it appears in some form of 5 out of the 6 chapters. When we're looking for the theme of dreams, two key questions that we can ask are firstly, why do we dream of something better and does it do us any good? And secondly, our big one for the unit, how can we dream in times of turmoil? The characters in the story don't have it easy, but some of them are still fighting for their dreams. Our second major theme is loneliness, and this comes a lot out of George and Lenny's work as ranchers. As they say in chapter 1, their kind of people are the loneliest people in the world. In addition to dreams, humans crave contact with others to give life meaning. However, loneliness is present throughout this novel, not only for George and Lenny, but for many of the characters. One key question we can ask about loneliness is how does being lonely affect people, and how can being part of a community help? Another question we can ask, if community helps, how do we find community in times of turmoil? Think about the Younger family finally finding community with themselves at the end of the play through finding family pride. We'll have to see what George and Lenny find throughout this play as well. A third and related theme is powerlessness. Steinbeck's characters are often the underdogs, and he shows compassion towards them throughout the body of his writings. Powerlessness takes many forms: intellectual, financial, societal, and Steinbeck touches on them all. We've already seen how Lenny has an intellectual disability, which makes him fairly dependent on George. But on the other hand, Lenny is physically strong and capable of doing hard work. Both Lenny and George are pretty financially weak. They're poor, they're desperate for work, they have to do what the bosses tell them. And in terms of society, they do not have much power, and we're going to meet some other characters who are even more on the outskirts of society than them and have very little power because of that. So, some questions we can ask to interrogate this theme are: do we all have the same amount of power to make our futures better? And if not, who has more power and why? Our final theme, and one that we know comes up even as early as the title of the play, is fate. Life's unpredictable nature is another subject that defines the human condition. We never know exactly how things are going to go. The best laid plans often go awry. In the book, no spoilers, but just when it appears that George and Lenny might get their farm, might get their dream, fate steps in and we get another twist. Steinbeck makes the reader wonder whether mankind should go alone in the world or be responsible and helpful to others who are less fortunate. So, when we're examining the theme of fate, we can ask, are we predestined to a certain outcome? How much do we control our own future? As we go through the book, we will be returning again and again to these four themes and asking these questions of our different characters, our different chapters. So, for the last part of this lesson, you're going to get some practice with that. In your packet below where you've been taking notes on this video, you're going to go and find two quotes from chapter 1 that connect with one or more of these themes. Go ahead and record those examples in your packet. They will serve you well later on.